This video is about the implementation of a program that was started in UCLA, University of California at Los Angeles, known as the PEERS program, and I got training in the program in 2015 when one of the founders of this program, Dr. Elizabeth Lagueson, had come to India at a national conference organized by Action for Autism in New Delhi at India Habitat Center, and there it was taught over 5 days. Since long, it has been my earnest wish to implement this program, which involves communication between teenagers or adolescents on the autism spectrum. PEERS has then developed further the PEERS program and has been implemented in different age groups. But recently, from 22nd June 2023 till 26th June 2023, the program that was implemented by me with the help of 2 volunteers, Shumi Shaha and Devoshmita Dash, and with 5 of very bright adolescents on the spectrum who participated and formed a very good bonding between each one of them, which led to the success of this program, which we plan to continue further every month or every alternate month, though we also plan to meet for regular meetups with friends and also the classes that we held. Very briefly to tell you about the classes, the PEERS program, which I got training in, was very much on an American context, but later I tried to implement it when I started PEERS more on the context of Indian culture, and also tried to implement elements of academics into it. So the question arises that why did I want to implement elements of academics into it? But myself, being a professional in the field as a dance movement therapy practitioner for special needs, as a physician, as a teacher implementing some of the methods of special education which I have learned, and then as a mother of someone who is a teenager on the autism spectrum, I realized that due to this difficulty in expressing themselves through verbal communication mostly, our teenagers, our adolescents and adults who have the dire need to express themselves, very often they suffer from some kind of frustration, lack of confidence, because they are unable to express themselves the way they should at this age. Moreover, a lot of changes that takes place during adolescence makes them very much vulnerable to the society, which is not so much understanding about their needs or requirements, and they start developing an aversion towards academics. Most of them, the 5 students that I worked with, they were all in mainstream education, inclusive mainstream education with few accommodations in terms of subjects, but not in terms of any teaching methodologies. And they were starting to, though they had an ardent desire to study, to go to school, to meet with friends, but in their mind they were developing a kind of social fear towards the community, the external community. So after having a discussion with the parents, we decided to work on a program. And this program over 5 days had structured schedule in which we brought in these regular divisions. I will explain to you how. we can have discussion. So they know when two, three sequences or two, three objects come one after another, they can put a comma in between. But the use of comma or pause in certain situations, like this week we are going to study. So after this week, if I put a blank, they don't know what's going to be the punctuation mark. But most of the time people on the spectrum read it very flatly. This week we are going to meet together and go for, so straight. So I read it out and they put in the appropriate punctuation marks in the blank spaces. Not that they didn't know punctuation marks, but the proper use of it and the exact modulation of voice while reading out a passage was important. So this is one of the examples of the activities that we had as a part of Jeopardy. On few other days we had Jeopardy questions, like in Peers it was said you put this answer and they frame the questions. So I thought of putting the questions in the form of a conversation. So here it comes. For example, I'm just giving an example. Betty answered that I come to this shop very often. I also like to have a cup of coffee when I come here. So two sentences back to back. And when it was asked that maybe Veronica asked blank, Betty replied that I come to this shop often and I like to have coffee also here. So Veronica's question is not only going to be do you like to come here very often? Along with that, the next question would be, what do you like to do when you come here? So the next question goes like, Archie asked blank. And the next question maybe a reply comes as, Jughead replied, I like to have a cup of coffee over here. Sometimes I might try their sandwiches. So the question that Archie would ask would be, do you like to have coffee over here? Or what do you like to have over here? What else do you like to have over here? Because the answer had that I also like to have sandwiches. So that is the kind of thing, extension of questions, extension of a conversation that was essential to be put into it. After Jeopardy, we used to have quizzes regularly on music, on films, which they liked. I learned their choices beforehand. After that, we also went for worksheets. Worksheets comprised of academic questions spanning subjects from physics, chemistry, biology, maths, English, history and geography, and one question with multiple choice answers, MCQ questions, and quite evident answer and one quite non-evident answer. What I wanted to see was their confidence, and it improved over days. Previously they used to just read it and randomly answer. So that really worked well over time.
নমস্কার, আমার নাম স্মিতা মুখার্জি, আমার মেয়ের নাম আরাত্রিকা মুখার্জি। 22 মে থেকে 26 মে একটা পিয়ার্স গ্রুপের অ্যারেঞ্জ করেছিলেন ডক্টর অদিতি বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় ম্যাম। এই গ্রুপটা অ্যারেঞ্জ করে আমাদের অনেক হেল্প করেছেন। তার কারণ কি, আমাদের বাচ্চারা অনেক কিছু শিখতে পারলো এই গ্রুপটা দিয়ে। আরও যাতে গ্রুপটা এগিয়ে যায় ভবিষ্যতে, আমি চাইবো যে এই গ্রুপটা যেন আরও ভালোভাবে আরও আমাদের বাচ্চারা আরও অনেক কিছু শিখতে পারে। তবে এই গ্রুপটা জয়েন করে আরাত্রিকা বন্ধুদের সাথে কিভাবে কমিউনিকেট করতে হয়, কিভাবে কনভারসেশন চালিয়ে যেতে হয়, অনেকটা ওর থটস ক্লিয়ার হয়েছে। এছাড়াও ও নিজে কীভাবে কী চিন্তা করে বন্ধুদের সম্বন্ধে, সেগুলো বন্ধুদের সাথে শেয়ার করেছে। অ্যাকাডেমিক অনেক কিছু শিখতে পেরেছে, কিভাবে কোয়েশ্চেন আনসার কোনটা আগে করতে হবে, কোয়েশ্চেন পেলে কোনটা পরে, সেই নিয়েও ওদের একটা থটস ক্লিয়ার হয়েছে। এছাড়া ও রোলস প্লের মাধ্যমে বুঝতে পেরেছে কোনটা ঠিক কোনটা ভুল, একটা বোঝার চেষ্টা করতে পারছে আর কি এখন, যে কোনটা কি করলে ঠিক হয় কি করলে ভুল সেটা বোঝার চেষ্টা করছে। এছাড়াও একাডেমিক অনেক কিছু অ্যাক্টিভিটি করানো হয়েছে, গুগল মিটের মাধ্যমে ওরা নিজেদের সাথে কমিউনিকেট করতে পারছে এখন।
After the first half, we used to have a small break where they used to have food, and food was also up to their choices, which teenagers usually like, not always junk food, but yes, it comprised of a drink and also one of their favorite foods. So for 5 days continuously, we didn't like to give them junk food, but at the same time we kept in mind their choices too. Following that, we used to have a section of understanding Swami Vivekananda's words, and they liked it. That was mostly to develop in them the sense of understanding of abstract. So for 2 days, first 2 days, we pondered over one of the quotes by Swami Vivekananda, that when you are busy, everything is easy, but nothing is easy when you are lazy. So when I also observed over time that autistic people on the spectrum, not all, but most of them, they go by the literal meaning of the word, and that everybody knows. So when everything is easy when you are busy. So they know what's easy, but what is being busy? Being busy means doing any work over time, but here the concept of being busy is not only that, it is about working on that matter which will become easy for you. Now many of them have told me, most of them, that I find examinations very difficult. They are not an easy thing. So how can it become easy when you are busy? Busy means that I have to keep studying on the subject, so that then the subject for me becomes easy when I am asked questions on the subject. And that is an exam. Nothing is easy when you are lazy. So being the concept of lazy, some of them felt it's like sleeping for a long time. That is being lazy. Not having my breakfast in a given time is being lazy. So we had to break it up, work on their abstract understanding, and then on their imaginations. And I must say that really we had, after the break session, we didn't have these very long academic sessions. So after understanding of Swami Vivekananda's words, we had another 2 days we worked on arise, awake and stop not till your goal is reached, and the same thing. They were going about the actual meanings of the words. Finally came the day, before that I also must mention, we had games on logical interpretation. Then we had self-help skills where they had to work in a group. So the volunteers were the taskmasters, used to take them one to a bedroom, one to a study room, arranging the study table where the books were mixed, books of different languages were mixed, files were mixed, and they had to sort them out, put the pens in the pen stand and arrange a table. Then they had to also go to a bedroom, and in the bedroom all the things were piled up together, so they had to rearrange, put the bed sheet, put the pillow covers on, arrange them, cover it up with a bed cover, and put the artificial flowers in a flower vase. And it is not easy to work in a group. Most of them can work individually with the instructions, but here there was a checklist of instructions, and the supervisor, who were the volunteers, they said that intense anxiety and panic was there, that I have to finish it up, and no matter how I finish it up. So many parents are of the opinion that they keep giving constant verbal instructions to their children, and the children finish the work. On the contrary, giving a checklist, helping them to work peacefully with initially no limitation of time, and gradually setting a time for them really helps. We also had games like interpreting a role play. Now, in Peers, we know there are a set of videos available over YouTube where you understand. But this time I chose parents who used to be seated in the other room. So parents of the adolescents who participated in the study by helping me doing these role plays between two friends. Maybe I'm just explaining the role plays to you, two of them rather, which we did.
Communication and social interactions are very important in modern life. These are more so important to the adolescents who have come to crucial juncture in their life. Of late, Dr. Aditi Bandyopadhyay has conducted a program on peering and communication. My son participated there. It was a very well organized and well thought out plan. Dr. Banerjee has effectively covered different aspects of communication over verbal, written, and digital medium. The program was culminated with a party where participants understood the value of collaboration, sharing, and mutual respect. Coming to my son's mind, like I have been watching that since the program was ended, he is talking about his new peers and Aditi ma'am in particular. It is madam's empathy, love, and personal touch which created a positive impact to the little mind.
In understanding the role play, for example, on one of the days we did a play where a girl was, here again let's take the example of Archie comics. Maybe Veronica is asking Betty that how much did you score in the exams, and Veronica is not willing to say that. She says it's okay, but she keeps asking, how much did you score, how much did you score, and then she, the other girl ends up being very rude. I don't want to tell you, I don't want to be friends with you. And she keeps asking, no, please tell me, how much did you get? I got good marks, why don't you want to tell me? Now that very often happens for autistic individuals. They fail to interpret the other person's feelings, the other person's embarrassment, and the other person, if also on the spectrum, mostly they come across as very rude and impolite. These videos, we try to make them more in the context fit for these participants. For example, in the regular peer protocol, there was such a question asked on the role of a stepdad, that why did your mother wish to have another partner in her life so that you have a stepdad? Now, of course, in Indian scenario, this is also becoming common, where families break and then again parents get remarried and situations like that. But still, it is not very common among our youngsters to face such situations, and so that's why we tried to pick up those common points in our cultural context, because our academic programs are not facilitated that way. Still, we give out progress report cards, we give out exercise books where marks are graded and each child can see the another's and they compare, and these situations come up, even for regular neurotypical children. So we had 3 such kinds of role plays. About how loud you should speak, how close you should go to, and they were seeing the things which were inappropriate, and then they were asked to interpret that, what do you feel about it? And they said, no, this is wrong. What would have been the right thing? So the right thing would have been this. So we really enjoyed doing these role plays. Following the role plays, we had board games, and in the form of Scrabble or something else, and following that,
Over a period of 5 days, the children learned how to interact with their peers, how to interact in different social situations, including awkward situations which they could face as teenagers quite frequently. They also learned how to manage themselves in different situations, such as going to a restaurant, ordering food by themselves, paying for themselves, and interacting with the waiter, etc. I am very happy that my daughter attended this program. She has visibly improved over time, and I hope we can continue this program and continue to help all these adolescents who are growing into this world. Thank you so much, Dr. Aditi Bandyopadhyay.
এই 5 দিনের প্রোগ্রামের মধ্য দিয়ে অভিজ্ঞান অনেক কিছু শিখতে পেরেছে। যেমন বন্ধুদের সঙ্গে কিভাবে বন্ধুত্ব করতে হয় সেটা শিখেছে, বন্ধুদের সঙ্গে মনের কথা শেয়ার করতে পেরেছে, নিজের আত্মবিশ্বাস বেড়েছে এবং নিজেকে প্রকাশ করতে শিখেছে। এছাড়াও কয়েকদিন বন্ধুদের সঙ্গে নাচ, গান, অন্তাক্ষরী, কুইজ, বিভিন্ন রকম গেম, রোল প্লে করে ও ভীষণ মজা করেছে। এছাড়াও পার্কে যাওয়া, কফি শপে যাওয়া, একসঙ্গে খাওয়া দাওয়া মধ্য দিয়েও ভীষণ আনন্দ পেয়েছে।
নমস্কার, আমার নাম দীপ্তি পল। গত 22শে মে থেকে 26শে মে একটি পিয়ার প্রোগ্রাম অ্যারেঞ্জ করেছিলেন ডক্টর অদিতি বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়, উই আর পিয়ার। আমি সেখানে অ্যাজ আ ভলেন্টিয়ার হিসেবে পার্টিসিপেট করেছিলাম। 5টি 14 থেকে 16 বছর বয়সী ছেলে মেয়েদের নিয়ে এই প্রোগ্রাম অ্যারেঞ্জ করা হয়েছিল। এই 5 দিনে নানা রকম জিনিসের উপর ফোকাস করা হয়েছিল, যেমন কমিউনিকেশন, আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং অফ অ্যাবস্ট্রাক্টস, সেলফ হেল্প অ্যাক্টিভিটিস, কিছু বেসিক অ্যাকাডেমিক রিলেটেড অ্যাক্টিভিটিস যাতে ওদের মধ্যে আত্মবিশ্বাস তৈরি হয়, রোল প্লের মাধ্যমে কোনটা ঠিক কোনটা ভুল সেটা বোঝানো, কুইজ, অন্তাক্ষরী, নাচ, গান, নানা রকম বোর্ড গেমস, ইনডোর আউটডোর অ্যাক্টিভিটিস, কফি শপ ভিজিট, এসব তো ছিলই। অ্যাজ আ ভলেন্টিয়ার আমি লক্ষ্য করেছি এই 5 দিনে অনেক রকম পরিবর্তন ওদের মধ্যে। একে অপরের কাছে ওপেন হওয়া, নিজেদের ভবিষ্যৎ পরিকল্পনা নিয়ে আলোচনা করা, গ্রুপ অ্যাক্টিভিটিতে একে অপরকে সাহায্য করা, কেউ কোনো ভুল করলে তাকে গাইড করা, বা এরকম অনেক কিছু তাদের মধ্যে চেঞ্জেস দেখেছি। কফি শপে গিয়ে নিজেদের খাবার অর্ডার দিয়ে সেটা শেয়ার করে খাওয়া, এনজয় করা, নিজেদের বিল নিজেদেরই পেমেন্ট করা, এই জিনিসগুলোর মধ্যে দিয়ে ওদের মধ্যে অনেক আত্মবিশ্বাস তৈরি হতে দেখেছি। এবং সবশেষে যখন 5 দিন বাদে বুঝতে পারলো যে প্রোগ্রাম শেষ হয়ে গেছে, তখন ওদের মধ্যে মন খারাপ হয়ে সেটা প্রকাশ করতেও দেখেছি। এই প্রোগ্রামের মাধ্যমে সবথেকে বেশি যেটা উপকার হয়েছে আমার মতে, কিভাবে বন্ধুত্ব করতে হয়, কিভাবে বন্ধুর সাথে কথা বলতে হয়, কিভাবে শেয়ার করতে হয়, কিভাবে বন্ধুকে গাইড করতে হয়, এই ব্যাপারগুলো ওরা বুঝতে পেরেছে, যেটা আমাদের ছেলেমেয়েদের জন্য অনেক বেশি দরকার।
নমস্কার, আমি দেবস্মিতা দাস, উই আর পিয়ার প্রোগ্রামের একজন ভলেন্টিয়ার। বিশেষ চাহিদা সম্পন্ন শিক্ষার্থীদের সাথে কাজ করতে গিয়ে আমি দেখেছি এরা একা থাকতে বেশি ভালোবাসে। আর এই প্রোগ্রামে অংশগ্রহণকারী 5 জন শিক্ষার্থী নিজেরা নিজেদের পরিচয় দিয়েছে, তাদের পছন্দ ও শখগুলো জানিয়েছে, অন্যরা সেটা শুনে বোঝার চেষ্টা করেছে। রোল প্লে অ্যাক্টিভিটিগুলোর মধ্যে দিয়ে সমাজে যথাযথ আচরণ কী করে করতে হয় তার একটা সামগ্রিক ধারণা দেওয়ার চেষ্টা হয়েছে। কুইজ, স্ক্র্যাবলের মতো অ্যাক্টিভিটির মধ্যে দিয়ে তাদের অ্যাকাডেমিক্সকে হেল্প করার চেষ্টা হয়েছে। এছাড়াও নিজেদের আবেগকে বুঝে তা এক্সপ্রেস করা এবং অন্যের আবেগ অনুযায়ী আচরণ করার একটা ধারণা তাদের মধ্যে তৈরির চেষ্টা হয়েছিল। এছাড়া বিভিন্ন গ্রুপ অ্যাক্টিভিটিগুলোর মধ্যে দিয়ে এই পিয়ার প্রোগ্রাম শিক্ষার্থীদের মধ্যে উই ফিলিং তৈরি করতে অনেকাংশে সফল হয়েছে।
So towards the end, we had a relaxation time. So someday it was dance, someday it was Antakshari. Antakshari means a game of songs where you pick up the last word or last letter and sing a song. So that was Antakshari, and we also had, similar silly dances, and we had, for relaxation, we also had, some kind of memory games. But the main point for me for telling you all this, that to be ready for this program, the adolescent should have a sitting span, continuous sitting span of at 2 hours almost at a stretch, with occasional breaks, but not breaks in the activities, but activities of short duration. But they need to stay seated. Like before the first break, there will be almost 1 hour of intense discussion, studies, etc. And after that break for 15 minutes, they again need to be seated for say 45 minutes. And that is not an easy task for some people, for many people on the spectrum. And so after the relaxation period, they used to go back home with a prayer. I made a prayer for them, both in English and Bangla, because I had to keep in mind the requirement of every student. There were students from 3 boards of academics, CBSE, ICSE and the state board. And there were students from 2 different media, English medium and Bengali medium. But honestly to tell you, the student who came from vernacular medium and thought the mother was a little apprehensive that whether he would be able to do well in English. But he did really well in English, and he expressed himself so nicely. And I could see, most of them have the knowledge, the acumen, the interest. But what they lack is confidence, because people are not willing to hear them, understand them. It is not that we have done the best. I'm just sharing with you that an overall sketch of what we did. Parents in this video will share with you their views. But what I mean to say is, everyone wouldn't perhaps get the chance of being peer certified, because I don't know whether again the certification will take place. But what I'm trying to say, we can try this. This is not very difficult, but you have to understand the people you are working with. It can work with different groups of people, but the inclusion criteria has to be very strict. Because to have a group, you have to have like-minded people. For any group, we also like to have like-minded friends. Then only we can talk, we can spend a long time together. So, if you are thinking that peers is like a social club, it's like just you come, chill, relax, and spend time and have food and then go back, then it is something else. That's also good. But if you want a peers program where you want to develop on a lot of skills, you need to have people who are at the same level of the spectrum. That's what is my observation, and I encourage people to practice it more and more, and I'm always willing to help and share. Thank you so much. Enjoy our peers program.